Alright folks, and let us quickly recap this year's final reward for mirny 13 Halloween event. It is the Rozanov's 𝗧𝗧, a premium tier 8 Russian medium tank that is practically a larger up-armored T-34-85. So special side skirts covering the tracks like a BTSV, but battle rollers on the front for clearing mines, which realistically speaking is not that practical. So it is considered as space armor, but only for the tracks. It has thicker hull front and turret front, but still uses a kinda underwhelming 85mm at tier 8. So lots of DPM, but still struggle to penetrate heavier targets like a mouse or E100. So it looks a little bit like a T-34-85, but just wider on the ass, on the turret. So originally this vehicle had a lot of DPM. It was slow, but it had about 4,000 DPM. They nerfed it down to a realistic 2,400, but still 85mm. So let's quickly go through the stats to see if it's worth your time. There's a special skin for this vehicle as well. So let's quickly take a look. But here is the in-game garage or wallpaper screenshot. That is a special skin on this vehicle. So you have to collect tapes or tokens like with the King Tiger that we had about 2 years ago to unlock this vehicle. So finish the boss or finish the objectives, one of the which there are special missions, I believe, but we'll have to see. So special style for this vehicle looks a little bit like a 2D except for the back of the turret, so collecting fart gas. Original prototype was like green essence. Now it's purple essence, but that was about 5 or 6 years ago with the MT25. So collect all the fart gas and power up the generator or something. So kind of underwhelming for a skin too, but it's okay, I guess. You get a vehicle for free. So similar style to the Waffenträger a little bit, just collecting the stuff a little bit. But this vehicle has been undergone dramatic change in terms of firepower. I mean, 3,800 DPM for this gun is kinda insane, but back then this vehicle was slow. So here is a quick summary of the stats from originally 1.20 common test to the current patch. So DPM got dramatically nerfed to a more realistic 2,400. They nerfed the penetration, nerfed the alpha damage, but buffed the accuracy and buffed the dispersion, so you're more likely to hit, but less penetration power and less alpha damage. So potential damage on this vehicle is kinda low. You only have 60 rounds of the 85mm, so you have to make it work. That's about the same potential damage as a Batchat 25T. If you spam too much or miss your target with the Batchat, you run out of the 30 ammo count for the 105. So just try to hit your targets, but this vehicle is not that fast to rev originally, even though it has 50 km/h top speed. Effective top speed is only 30. It has been buffed by reducing the weight, but engine power stayed the same, horsepower per ton ratio increased, less weight. Effectively, top speed has gone better, but terrain resistance on this vehicle is the same as an Object 274A, so highly recommend you getting Grousers instead of turbocharger. There's a little bit of a difference, but gun traverse speed is moving up and down. That got slower, that's fine. Traverse got slower dramatically. Whoa, almost like 33%. Holy crap, that is big. That is huge. So effective traverse went from 47 on hard to 31. A lot slower to turn. Hit points got buffed, view range got nerfed. So overall, it's practically still a bunker, just a lot less DPM. A lot less. Still, it plays like a slower, or a lot slower, Kampfpanzer 07RH. Ugh. I mean, it is about the same alpha with the gun, but let's take a look at the armor. So 120 at the hull front, 205 at the turret front. It is slow, but there's a driver hatch weak spot. Common on T-34s, obviously. Only 100mm compared to 120 So effectively, it's about 190 to 100 base. Ugh. Lower plate, not bad for lower plate. At this angle, it's 190. Unangled, about 160 or so. Not bad. Turret front 230 with a mantlet. So you could hit the flat sides like this area right here with a high explosive anti-tank round or high penetration APCR. You'll likely pin, but the Mohawk on top could be overmatched with a large caliber gun. It is well sloped for the Mohawk, the gun depression port, but that's still well sloped for most caliber at tier 8. Yeah, that's kind of decent enough. So not that much weak spot going hull down, even though only 6 degrees of gun depression. Side armor is space armor all the way around, on top and on the bottom. So you're also hitting the tracks sometimes. So side scraping is often trollish, but don't expose your drive wheel, even though you have a mine clearing roller in the front to protect it. But it's still, some areas are like 130 millimeters effective. Now they did buff the armor from original inception of this vehicle. So originally, this is the 115 hull front with lower plate at 60. They buffed it to 120 at the hull front and 100 at the lower plate. So technically it's a little bit stronger, but like I said, a lot less DPM. So yeah, you obviously will want a rammer on this vehicle, and it's like with the Object 274A. It has terrible terrain resistance, and dispersion is not that great. So I would say dispersion wise, vertical stabilizer, mobility wise, likely the Grousers. Turbocharger could work, but obviously rammer is a must. Play around with this vehicle in tanks.gg and see which one is to your liking. But you can see that we could put turbocharger and compare this to a Grouser setup. And even though it has better effective top speed, or better on paper top speed with a turbocharger, effectively it doesn't have as good of a top speed. So turbocharger is not as good as Grouser on this vehicle. So play around with tanks.gg, mess around with the dispersion or the view range and the soft stats. But yeah, dispersion is still kind of crap in my honest opinion. So vertical stabilizer will likely help, and a rammer obviously gets more DPM, but it is originally a versatile medium tank. Now it's considered as assault. Yeah, assault. So even though it doesn't matter at tier 8, let's go through field modification and we'll talk about the rating of this thing. So similar to all medium tanks at low tier, doesn't matter that much. Hull traverse speed or penalty of damage, ammo rack, and gun. I would say better traverse. This thing is somewhat slow, so give it a little bit more traverse. Doesn't help. Or doesn't help that, well, doesn't hurt to help. Dispersion or aim circle size. Now granted, aim circle size is pretty decent for a Russian gun, so I would say better dispersion since it's kind of crap, similar to the Object 274A. Better dispersion with this slot. Camo or reverse speed. Now, the 274A is more like a combat medium heavy tank or heavy medium tank. It's not exactly a T44-100 fast. So concealment with this vehicle is already kind of good enough. I would say get better reverse speed. Reverse is 16, and you don't have the turbocharger to help out with boosting the top speed on both ends. So I would say likely the reverse speed at the cost of your camo. You have armor, so be more aggressive, I guess, or more heavy tank oriented with this vehicle. So originally we did not give a rating to this vehicle. There were no rating simply because it just appeared on the common test. There were no super test debut of this vehicle. So I took a second look. Yep, only show up on the original 1.20 common test back in February. So there were no pre-super test or super test version of this vehicle. Just came out of nowhere, the titty. So originally with that DPM but slower mobility, I would say The DPM's crazy. If you're spamming all gold shell, it's a bunker practically. And it's like a 6 out of 10, especially for a premium tank. But now it's 5.5. It's still workable, but it's not the fastest. You could troll a few shots, but then again, heavy tank guns or tank destroyer guns will wreck you. So you still have more DPM, but I would like to have this DPM or this alpha kind of a gun on a faster vehicle. Like with the 𝗠𝗶𝗃'𝗀 practically, right? So might as well play with the 𝗠𝗶𝗃'𝗀 than with the 𝗧𝗃. Let's compare the German Tier 8 medium tank. 𝗠𝗶𝗃'𝗀-07RH has the same alpha, about the same penetration, but about the same DPM as well. Aim time, accuracy, all about the same, but obviously the German is a hell of a lot faster. Dramatically faster compared to this brick. Now obviously armor is not that great on the German, but yeah, well, who needs armor when you have speed? Actually, this thing has better camo than the German 𝗠𝗶𝗃'𝗀-07RH, surprisingly. Less view range though. So I would still say you should focus more on combat, more on heavy tank orientation, or just hold down a heavy tank corner with this vehicle, poking out using the turret armor, and go haul down if you can, but still like a 5.5 out of 10. This is the boss based off of the 𝗧𝗃. So this was a hybrid of twin barrel with a VK72-01K's turret. And the battle rollers and other crap. That looks like the anti-aircraft machine gun on top of the mouse skin. Alright, I mean, different stuff put together in a mishmash. I mean, if that's a 150mm on the VK72, then that's likely 180 or plus, or maybe 200 plus. They also have a sponson gun on the side of the hull. Yeah, that's what? So we'll face off against two versions of a sub-boss. This is the one of the sub-boss. The other one is a M103 with a double barrel as well, but it'll be kind of interesting, I guess. Still a fun mode. More fun than the Waffentrigger, to say the least, or in my honest opinion. But there you go, folks. I would still say a 5.5 out of 10. It may be a 5. I mean, it doesn't have that crazy of a stat factor to make it that interesting. It is still decent in terms of DPM, but otherwise, potential damage is still kind of low. Penetration is still average. Alpha is subpar. You have to focus on rapid firing. So it is like a British rapid firing gun, except you're playing a Russian with some armor on the hull, but not the craziest of armors. I will still rather play with the fast mobility, rapid firing into your side armor kind of a vehicle, like with the 𝗠𝗶𝗃'𝗀-07RH, but this thing is still kinda slow for my taste. Then again, I think the gold standard in terms of mobility is the T-44-100. That thing has crazy terrain resistance, as well as horsepower per ton ratio. This thing is insane in terms of mobility. Just top speed is not that great. That's all. Top speed is not that great, but everything else, this thing is fast. This is somewhat overrated. It might be a unfavorable or unpopular opinion, but I think this vehicle is overrated. It sucks. Accuracy sucks. Freaking dispersion sucks. And it's slow too. Well, then again, obviously it's slow compared to this thing. So there you go, folks. The 𝗧𝗃. I would say 5 to 5.5. It's okay. It's average. It's a funny name, but it's about a 6 originally with the high DPM. But then again, there are a few trade-offs like armor buffs and HP nerfs or HP stuff. 5.5. So as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.